Hello, CineFlix Compact here. Today, I'm going to explain the film, Big Brother, which is an action comedy drama. Keep an eye out and be cautious. After years of service in the US military, Henry has returned to Hong Kong. He returns to his former school, Tak Kai Secondary, to pursue a career as a teacher. The principal admits that he has no prior teaching experience. He gets given the job after being presented a recommendation letter from a higher official. The principal advises Henry before he leaves that the class he is assigned to teach is the worst in the school. Henry arrives into his classroom on his first day of school to find things in complete disarray. Some kids are napping, singing, playing video games, and a large number of them are preparing ramen on a portable burner. They continue to do what they're doing even after the teacher steps in. Henry tries to grab their attention, but they act as if they aren't listening. He stops attempting to divert their attention and walks about the classroom making observations about what they are presently doing. Because ramen contains too much sodium, students who are cooking are advised to eat less of it. Henry then approaches a man named Zufa who is playing the ukulele and offers to assist him. In a similar vein, he cautions a gamer kid about the dangers of looking at a screen all day. He introduces himself and writes his name and phone number on the board when the pupils eventually start paying attention to him. His penmanship is unattractive, which makes the students chuckle. Then a student contacts him and requests that he leave the class, but Henry laughs it off. The kids continue to ignore him and carry on with their activities before he arrives. Henry has had enough and uses a rubber band and chalk to activate the fire sprinkler in the room. The students hurriedly dispersed in order to avoid getting soaked. He eventually has their entire attention and introduces them to his class. A group of 5 of the lowest-ranking students congregates in the sports supplies room after class to smoke. Jack, the group's leader, has a crush on an A-grade kid in another class. The others make fun of him when they see him looking at her image. The club has a rivalry with the school's basketball team's rich and pampered students. They enter the supply room and, as is customary, taunt Jack for his poverty. Later, the basketball team is practicing, and Jack and the others are watching from a distance. When Jack drops a bottle on the court, the team captain falls. Miss Liang, the school's English instructor, gives the group detention despite their laughter. They perform a trick on her and rush away while she is cleaning her desk to escape detention. In another part of the school, the principal is upset because the education board intends to cut 20% of the school's annual funding. The board members arrive to take a tour of the school and evaluate how the monies are being spent. Henry enters the classroom, at the same time, where the pupils had set up a bucket of water to fool him. However, his reflexes outrun the falling pail, and he manages to push it aside. Students who were expecting to make fun of him are taken aback. Knowing that Jack smokes, Henry asks for his pack of cigarettes. Jack simply hands him the pack, unsure what he intends to do. After that, Henry asks Zufa to list the 3 components of a cigarette. He is allowed to skip class for the day if he answers the question properly. Everyone starts banging on their desks, begging that they, too, be allowed to skip class. When they come to a halt, he hands each of them a cigarette and instructs them to examine it. Henry understands that if he just states the impact on their health, people will dismiss him. Instead, he inquires about the consequences of smoking cigarettes and explains how tar builds up in their lungs. They pay attention to the teacher for the first time and appear to be engaged in learning. He asks them to return the cigarettes after the bell sounds, and they hesitantly agree. The captain of the basketball team trips one of Jack's friends, Bruce, in the cafeteria that day. This causes a disagreement between the 2 groups, which quickly escalates into a brawl. They ruin the place by throwing food and tables at each other. Later, Henry learns that 5 of his classmates have been suspended indefinitely for inciting the fight. In the corridor, Henry discovers Jack fighting his opponent and intervenes. When told to calm down, Jack accuses the school of being unjust because the wealthy students are spared punishment.